good morning. It's June 14th, 2024, and I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop. And today we're going to do a sew with me. And with the sew with me, I'm going to really focus on how I come up with ways to go faster on quilt blocks, how to kind of cheat a little bit and make the process a little bit easier. And someone specifically, or several people asked for this specific block. So we're going to do a specific blocks from the Piece and Quilt Sampler Quilt Along. We have 2 free quilt alongs going, and we are going to we're going to go through those and kind of show you blocks. We're going to show you Jessica's progress on her monster mash. I made Kevin a quilt for Father's Day, so lots of stuff to show you, but we're going to jump right in. And today what we're working on is the Piece and Quilt Sampler Quilt Along. And so right here, we are going to be working on page 91, 6-inch Wagon Track, 6 blocks. That's what we're working on today. And I have this colored, and these sheets are on the, these sheets right here are on the blog. So what I want to show you is, I'm going to cut this up. And the reason I'm going to cut this up is when I came in, if you looked at my reels, I cut all of this quilt all at once. Well, I cut this totally wrong, which if I wasn't showing on a video, I would just sew it the way I cut it because it really doesn't matter in the end. But since I'm doing this on video, I'm going to show you these 2 and these 2 because this has kind of a tonal blue. This has a blue check. This has like a blue cross-hatchy thing, and then this has a gray crosshatch and a gray floral. Same whites, but when you go to page 91, this is your block. You're going to be making 6 of those that are 6 inches. So there's 1 and 1. And then these 4, you join them together to create one big block. So when you're looking at the quilt, this is 4 Wagon Track blocks, and this is 2 Wagon Track blocks. So what I'm going to show you is how to, first, let's just do the half square triangles. Let's not talk about the 4 patches yet. So let's just do the half square triangles. So I'm going to go to the 6-inch line. D and A are 2 7/8. If I pull out my handy dandy I have it over here. Okay, so this, I pulled it out already. If you pull this out, this is the half square triangle cheat sheet. So this tells you to cut them the exact size. So 2 7/8. That's your cut size. If you go to cut size on this 2 7/8, that means they're gonna unfinish at 2 1/2, which matches right here. Finish at 2 inches, you need H200. So that told me what paper I needed. So I used that. If you don't have that paper, which is a completely free paper, what you can do is look at the size, unfinished, take 1/2 inch away from that, that's your finished size. So that would be 2 inches, and get 2-inch triangle paper. Okay, so here, this is written for 1 block. So you have to convert this to 6 blocks. So if you look here, I need 8 from the tonal. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have put my white on white right sides together, and here I have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can consider that 1 square, 1 square, 1 square, 1 square. So I have that done. So that'll go with this. This one, you need 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So you need 8 squares. So there's 8 squares. And that is the check kind of print. So if y'all have questions, let me know, but that's how you convert. And it's kind of fun to just tackle the block one at a time. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go to the sewing machine. I'm gonna put my stitch length down to like a 1.2, 1.5, and just stitch along the dotted line. One thing that I do is I always start off the paper, like over here, like somewhere over here. Because if you get, you know, when you start and your machine might gunk up a little bit or have a little bit of loose ties, that way when you cut it off, you don't have any loose threads. And I would say another thing with triangle paper, no matter what brand you're using, you wanna make sure everything is nice and flat. Everything has been ironed and your paper is as flat as possible. No matter what brand it is, if it's like a little bit off, your triangle's not gonna be the right size. So I have an open toe foot on the machine. I have my stitch length super small. And what I like to do is just keep it, oops, I just poked myself, keep it flat as possible. A size 90 needle works best with triangle paper. And then flatten it. And then when you look at the back, it should be flat. There shouldn't be any kind of wrinkles. And then here on this next one, I'm going to go and do X's first, and I'll do one X first and then go to the second X. So I did the X, I didn't turn and do the other X because what I want to do is, now that this is nice and flat, take the pins out, flatten it again, and then do the other X. Okay, so here I want to show you a couple things. So I started and stopped off the paper. And the reason why is, see how there's like this loose thread? That will get cut off. Now we're going to cut these down. It's really important to cut as straight as possible. Tammy from Texas, I usually use a size 90 needle at all times. That is actually technically not what most people use, but because I use so much triangle paper and so much foundation paper, I just keep a 90 in my machine. Now, if I wasn't doing foundation paper, a size 80 is totally fine, but I do not think that that is what most people do. So I just want to like preface that by saying somebody will probably tell you that's technically not correct. That's just what I do. I just find that it pierces the paper better. And when I'm doing triangle paper, I just like to cut the outside first. I think it's easier. And so it's nice and flat. I am using color 2000 Aurifil thread because it's white. It's cream. That's what I normally use. You sometimes make triangles larger and trim down. Can you do that using triangle paper? That would be triple work. So you would not need to do that with triangle paper. You can do that, but I would not do both together. I mean, unless you really want to like add double time to your project. And then when you cut across these diagonals, it doesn't have to be exact because that's in your seam allowance. And then this is where you call in your children and say, please come pull the paper off, because that's what I do. Okay, so here I'm going to show you a little trick. Now, this doesn't always work. I like to cut the longest part first, pick my ruler up, not sideways, so that my fabric hopefully doesn't move, and then I can keep cutting. Doesn't always work. So let's see. You're gonna see my gray hair, just ignore it, please. My son pointed out this week, he was like, Mom, your hair's really white. And I was like, yeah, no joke. So if you just pick it up, straight up, it doesn't move. If you slide your ruler, it's going to move. And then I go right to left because I'm right-handed. And then if this moves a little bit, that's okay, because when I cut across, now this has moved a little bit. So because that's moved, I'm going to do these individually. I'm going to use a smaller ruler. And then chop these off. And sometimes if I'm doing like a really big quilt, I'll just do all my half square triangles all at one time, because then I can just put them on a bunch of design boards, call my kids, have them pull all the paper off at one time, and it's just quicker. Okay, so this is how you do the half square triangles. I'm gonna show you how to iron them, how to get the best results. I'm gonna show you, if you use a dog ear clipper, how you can use that. I don't usually use it. Do you cut on the line or next to it or in the middle? I cut right on the line. Like, put your ruler as close to the center as possible. And the only ones that don't have to be exact are the diagonal lines. Now here, there's a couple ways you can pull this paper off. That is amazing. That's how it's supposed to come off. And if you press it back like this, it's more likely to come off easier. If you just pull, it's not going to come off as easy. Well, maybe it will. So I'm going to pull these off. Sometimes people will put their iron on the paper. It makes it a little bit crisper, and then you can pull it off. But since I use a size 90 needle, I don't feel like I have to do that. I have not tried out the new Juki we just unboxed, but I know it's going to be great. That's all I sew with. And I have tried my new industrial Juki that I got a couple months ago, and I love it. I'm thinking about getting one for my house. But that would just entail like moving a lot of furniture, and I'm not that great at that kind of stuff. Yeah, this rotates. I just prefer to just move it. That's just, I don't know, that's why I do it. So I'm just going to pull these off. And I will tell you, sometimes I end up with fewer triangles, and that's because I accidentally put me or my kids put the triangles actually in the trash. If you're like me, you've earned every one of those gray hairs because of your kids. Oh, I think I've earned the gray hairs because I'm an overachiever and I work too much. But I mean, I get my hair dyed, and he's like, well, it just looks too white. I was like, can you just shut up? Sorry. You should not tell your kids to shut up, but sometimes I do. But we're always just joking around. Sometimes when I pull the paper off, it pulls some of the threads out. Okay, that means you need to shorten your stitch length and use a different needle that's sharper. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what you can do here. You can take this dog-eared clipper that Jocelyn designed, and you put the little dot right there on your threads, on your stitches, and cut. I don't usually use this thing, so that's why it's gonna. So you can do that, or you can press and then cut them off. I'm gonna do all of this all at one time real quick. I'm gonna kind of put them all the same way and do it so it's quicker. Any helpful hints if you can't adjust your thread length really small like you do? I have a basic machine and it has that I have to back stitch on the papers. Just use a sharper needle, but really the key is just go as small as you can. And I'm using this because I think it'll be quicker than the other way. We should have a contest. We should have a half square triangle contest where the girls give me half square triangles and make me do it different ways with the same exact fabric, and we should time it. But I would probably go really slow on the methods I don't like just to prove that mine is faster, so I'd probably cheat. So that probably wouldn't even be worth it. How often should you change your sewing machine needle? I change it quite often, at least, gosh, once a project. You're supposed to do 8 hours. I usually do 4. Like last weekend, I made a bunch of blocks. I'm gonna show them to you today. And I changed the needle twice because it was all foundation paper. As soon as the paper stops pulling off easily, that's when I change it. So I'm just gonna keep doing all of these. Do you think I should stop doing all these?
Which ones are you going to sew together?
I don't know what I'm gonna sew in a block. I'll just do all of them real quick. I probably won't be able to do all the 4 patches, but. Now if you don't wanna do all of that I'm doing, you could do this. I don't find it is as accurate as that ruler, but we'll see. So just showing you different options, or you press. Now I'm gonna press all of these open. If you're not gonna press open, just you can do this now or later, but if you're gonna press open, you wanna clip these off before you press open, or you're gonna have to clip 4 times instead of 2. Okay. So just showing you different options. The ruler, this is called the dog-eared clipper, and Jocelyn, who works at Fat Quarter Shop, she developed it. It's just a quick way to cut your dog ears off. You can use this when you do the traditional way of, you don't have to use this with triangle paper. I would not stack them. I definitely would not stack and cut on this because knowing me, I would cut right through a block. Now, you definitely can do that at home. I just would never trust myself. I'm quite clumsy. I cannot tell you how many times I have like bruises on my legs or something, and Kevin's like, what did you do? And I'm like, I don't know, I probably hit a wall. He's just like, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, now a trick to get all of this off the table. This is what I do. I got all this trash right here. Hopefully in this trash you do not have any triangles. I sometimes do. Put the trash can at the end of your table. Don't look at my feet. And it gets all the thread off too. Okay, now I'm going to iron these. So here is where I will stack, because I want to flatten my seams before I press to one side. That really helps. When making the triangles the original way, will the triangles be more accurate if you iron them open first and then trim? Yes, you would trim after you iron. There was a question about the industrial machine. For the Juki Industrial, it looks amazing, but do quilters really need it for piecing? No, you definitely do not need it. I got it because I cannot keep up with the amount of work I have, and it just sews faster. So I have a regular machine at home, industrial at work. I love it. It is so fast. It took a while to get it adjusted for regular, quilting fabric. When does Kimberly cut larger and trim the square down? I thought she did that with half square triangles, was on one of the squares she did. If I'm going to be making a pattern that has a lot, like for example, this one has 24 triangles, I think, I'm going to use paper. If I'm going to make 1 or 2 per block, I won't use triangle paper. So that's kind of how I decide. Whatever's going to give me the fastest and most accurate result. And I only cut bigger if I'm not using triangle paper. But I will use triangle paper. That's my first go-to. That's just the easiest for me. Do you check if the triangles are the correct size with the paper? I showed at the beginning how I do it, so I'm not sure if that's what you mean. Okay, so now that I've got them to one side, I'm going to press them open. Lately, I have been pressing open. This block has a lot of intersections that touch, so I think it kind of needs to be pressed open. And I usually stack about 4 on top of each other because the heat from the top just keeps going to the bottom. As long as your iron doesn't scorch your fabric. This iron I'm using is on the screen. Jordan popped it up. So you guys can let me know, do you sew barefoot or not? I have to sew barefoot because my shoes would get clunky and all over the place. But yes, I sew barefoot. When I walk in my house, I take my shoes off. I actually prefer to never have shoes on. I do not like shoes. The background fabric I'm using is the white on white polka dot from the Shoreline collection. I think I'm gonna need that iron. I've been holding off, but I think it will be my early Christmas gift. You know, you could always go to your local quilt store and try it before you buy it too. I am ironing directly on this mat. This is kind of newer.
But it's not your cutting mat.
Oh, it's not my cutting mat, it's my cutting. I'm ironing on my ironing board, not my cutting mat. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put these all the same direction just so it's easier, make stacks, and then we're gonna talk about the 4 patches. And obviously that's not even right. And this is something I also get my kids to do. Okay. So there we go. That is the 2-inch. Okay. So now that we've done that, I'm going to put this back because this goes on my board at all times. Then we're going to come back here. We're going to come back here and I'm going to show you how to do the math. I have to write it out. Okay. Okay. So let's do the math for this fabric, which is right here. I want to do, what is it called? Strip piecing. I want to do strip piecing. So instead of cutting fabrics B and C 1.5 inches, I want to cut strip sets. So if you look at the B and the C, they're 1.5 inches. So you take 1.5 inches times each one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So that's 40. So 1.5 times 40 is 60, I think. So I'm going to check that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 4. 40 times 1.5 is 60, right? Yeah, it is. So I need to have 60 inches long of the white and the gray. It's cut 1.5. I'm going to cut it 1 3/4. Anytime I'm doing strip sets, I cut it 1/4 inch bigger. If I'm in a funny mood, I might do 1/2 inch bigger. So I'm gonna pull just this fabric. Well, I don't have a lot of it because when I originally cut this block, I was not paying attention and I cut this fabric, which is for the other block. I'm writing in a journal that came in the Sew Sampler box. It's called Sew Creative Quilty Journal. So the first thing I'm going to do is iron this. Okay. So if I look at the length of this, it's about 18 inches. So 60 divided by 18, I need 4 strips. And I don't think I'm going to get 4 strips. We're going to see. 4 times 1.75 is 7 inches. So do I have 7 inches? No. I'm only going to get 3. Well, yeah, I'm only going to get 3. They're the same width. Okay. See, this has a cut right there. So I want to cut that off. I don't want that in my seam. So I'm going to cut 1.75 inches. They're supposed to be 1.5. I always do 1/4 inch bigger or 1/2 inch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, Now, obviously, this would work better if I had big pieces, but I don't. Now, this, I'm going to chop that off. That's not enough to keep. So this is, if I look at this together, that is 18 times 3. I need about 6 more inches, but I probably need a little bit more than that just to see. So I'm going to cut this, and hopefully this will be enough. If it's not, we'll cut more. And then I cut my white correctly. So my white is cut correctly. So what I'll do, put these right sides together, and I'll do that. I'm going to cut another piece. So basically, my white is cut correctly, but my gray is not. So I'm going to cut one more just because I think I'm going to need one more strip. Okay. So I'm going to sew this to this. I'm going to chop this off. I'm going to sew this to this. Chop that off because I can save that. So I've got these. And then I've got this. So I'm gonna just put it on the end of this one because I have plenty of white left over. And hopefully this will be enough. So I took the number of squares, the number of individual squares, times the number of pieces I need, times the cut, size, and the pattern. So you'll need a little bit more than that, but I'm going to put these right sides together. I'm going to put them together with a 1/4 inch seam. I'm going to sew super fast because it doesn't have to be accurate. You want it to be accurate, but when you trim down, it's going to help it where you don't have to be 100% accurate. So the first thing I need to do is just make sure I have right sides together. And I'm not going to pin because I cut them bigger. And this is why I like the industrial machine, because I could have got that done in like literally 3 times as fast. So I'm going to iron my seam flat, set the seam. A lot of you are saying they sew barefoot or sew with slippers. And here, when you're working with a strip set, if you just put the iron right on that strip set, right there, it gets it flat. You don't want to have a bump. And see that waviness? I'll get it out in a second. Barefoot, slipper socks. I don't have slipper socks. I don't like things on my feet though. Okay, so there it's flat. Now I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to make it even flatter. I'm going to finger press it and then just follow with my iron. Turn that over. Perfectly flat. You won't get a flatter seam than that. And if you look at the two next to each other, you can really see the difference. And the flat, you can really tell the difference. Some of you guys are saying Crocs. I don't own Crocs. What Juki model do I recommend for starter machine, just for piecing? The one that we loaded yesterday, I think would be a good one, because it has a couple of specialty stitches. And you could also call Juki Junkies, tell them that I sent you, that Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop sent you, and they can answer. I don't like answering too many sewing machine questions, because I answer them wrong and then y'all yell at me in the comments. Okay. So, this was supposed to be cut 1.5 and 1.5. If you take off the 1/4 inch seam, 1.5 minus 1/4 is 1 1/4. So I'm gonna cut this 1 1/4. And I wanna keep that line on there. And then sometimes you have to pull. It should be 2.5 inches wide, and I know that because it says it in the pattern. So I'm going to cut that. Then I'm going to come back, go as far to the edge as I can without the selvage. And then I'm going to cut those. You can either cut them 1.5 or 1 3/4. I'm just going to do 1.5 to make it easy. So I'll start with a 6-inch cut because I know I can get that. So if I do 6 inches, go to 4.5. Go to 3 and go to 1.5. Now I do that. I learned that from Billy Lauder years ago on Simply Quilting. If you go right to left, see those nice cuts? If you go this way, your fabric starts moving. And then I can get one more. So I need to get 30 of these. So I'm just gonna keep going. And this does waste fabric, but that's okay. I always cut larger and trim down. It makes a difference. Yeah, it makes them perfect. And here, I mean, you could even cut these 1 3/4 inches wide, sew them together, and then trim them down again. Totally up to you. It kind of depends what kind of mood I'm in. Like, do I have a lot of time? Do I not? Do I want it to be perfect? I think it's fun to just change what you do all the time, even though I don't like change. Okay, so this is 6. So basically, doing this, I'm gonna do 6, 4.5, 3, 1.5. And then I'm gonna show you how to do it the other way and why I do it this way. So 6, and I just have these sizes memorized. 3, 1.5. Now see, that's perfect. Now, it's gonna take longer if I do it this way. Because you have to start, move your ruler, lift, all of that. Okay, one thing that I think is helpful is to stack in stacks of 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, luckily I have 10 here. So that's gonna be one stack. This stack I don't have enough to do, so I'm gonna wait. Now I would definitely not stack your strips and cut. You gotta do them one by one. Sometimes you have to pull your thread or your fabric. Okay, so 2.5. So you guys will have to try this method of cutting because it's just so much easier. So I think I'm gonna finish cutting these and then do a block, or do you want me to do both blocks? Oh yeah, y'all asked. Do a poll, Ashley, and see what they want. Okay, I have the wrong way. Do y'all want me to make all the blocks or stop at this block, or what do y'all want me to do? I'm gonna do the block after live stream anyway, so. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna retrim over here. It's a little bit crooked there. So I'm gonna clean the cut, turn it around. And if you have a weird size, like a 1 3/8, obviously doing the math backwards is, you know, I'm not gonna do the math backwards on those. Those are too hard. Am I pulling my fabric to get the seam to lay straight? I'm pulling the fabric to get the center line perfectly straight with my ruler. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 2 stacks of 10. One block is good. Let's see. So right there, it's perfectly straight. I don't have to pull, but if I did, that's what I'm looking at, is that line right there. Okay, right there I shifted a little bit. If you use best press on a block, should you also use it on the finishing? Yes, whatever you do on one, you should do throughout. Like I always say, whatever brand ruler you start with, use that brand throughout the entire quilt. And, you know, do the same method of pressing, ironing, starching, pre-washing. Just do the same thing throughout the whole quilt. Here, another thing is when I'm doing this, I'm lining up this. You could also line up these. That's how I'm making sure it's straight. And my favorite part of doing a quilt is actually cutting. So I could just cut quilts all day. And I'm gonna have a few extra. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll have 2 extra. And I'll just keep these to the side. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make 1 unit. So let's see which one I did. Okay, I'm gonna make 1 of these units. Now to see how it looks with just 1 unit, that's what it looks like. So I'm just gonna make 1. Thank you for the super chats to Valeria Bauer, Susanna Pastoric. 1 block, 58%. Okay, so poll complete. 58%, 1 block. Okay, we're gonna make one unit, basically. So I'm gonna lay these out according to my pattern. And first time is not usually right, so if I don't have it right away, just give me a second to fix it. Oh, I have to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to make 5 of these first. So what I'm gonna do is pin them. So I need 5 of them. So I'm gonna put them right sides together. Make sure the center's lined up. Pin in the center. Pin at the end, and then I'll sew these together. I'll just do 5. My least favorite part of quilting is sewing the rows together. Yes. Oh, what I do at the end of a quilt, oh my gosh, and this is part of, like, I don't even want to say what it is, but I count things. So y'all could look that up if y'all want to know. But when I'm nervous, I count the people in the room. I count, if I'm at a football game, I'll count the number of people. If I'm at a basketball game, I'll count the number of players on both teams, then the people in the audience. I count things because I have really bad anxiety. So here, when I get to the end of a row, or get to the end of a quilt, I'll calculate, okay, how many seams are in each row? How many rows do I have? Plus the number of borders, and then I'll just like count how many seams I have left. Because I mean, what else would I do with my time, right? You need 40 pieces, not 30. You do, but with this color, you only need 30. You need more with this color. Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need 20. 40, you're right, I need 40. You're right, I need 40, so I didn't cut enough. Yeah, I didn't cut enough, so thank you, Crafting a Plan Life. I will fix that, and hopefully I'll be able to have enough from this. If not, I will improvise. So I'm going to sew with a 1/4 inch foot. I'm gonna leave these chained together. Thank you to the super chats from Aaron Bennett and Christy Rush. Will we carry the Cuddle Up Sew Along kit? No, we have all the pre-cuts and yardage though, but we didn't do that one as a kit. My favorite scissor brand is Sweet Snips and OmniGrid. Those are my two favorite. I like Ginger too, they're just a little bit heavy. But Ginger's probably the one that's got the best reputation. Okay, now I'm gonna just go across. And I'm not even really having to rock my iron, I'm just going across. And then this is a little, I'll fix this. So these are the scissors I use the most, Sweet Snips. They only come in 4 sizes, but I use this size and the medium size the most. So this goes down this way. Okay, so now I'm gonna really look at this and see. Across, across, 1, 2. I'm also going to look at the book, which, it depends which way you turn it. It matches. Okay, so then I'm going to sew these 3 together, pin them. You didn't want to throw away your, no, I did not throw away any leftovers. I have a huge stack of fabrics from my quilt and I just keep them in a big stack until the end. And then this one. Okay, so I'm gonna chain piece down here. Once I have that, I'm gonna open it back up, add these, chain piece all of it and show you how to press. Now at this point you can press or keep adding. So I'm gonna keep adding. Again, depends what kind of mood I'm in, what I do. Sometimes if I'm doing a bunch of them, I'll stop and press. If I'm doing one, I'll just do it this way. this may sound weird, but I think of things as an assembly line. What is the fastest way to get it done? Because the faster I go, the more I can make. And the more I can add to my schedule. Okay, so I'm not going to just press because I do need to set the seam. So I'm going to set this seam this way. I'm going to move this over here, move this, and set this side. And basically, I didn't press into the other side. And then what I'm going to do here is since I'm going to press open, I'm going to press these this way. Press these that way. Since I'm going to press open, it doesn't matter. Just press them open. Press them flat. Any direction really doesn't matter. And then press them open. Yeah, the sweet snips come in 3 sizes. I need a sewing buddy that would cut with me. I love everything else. I love to cut fabric. And iron, oh my gosh, I love it. So that's nice and flat. And then I'm going to finger press and do the other side. I sew for pleasure, not for speed. Yeah, I think you should sew for whatever you think is best. I am just overachiever. That's just my personality. How is sewing with your new industrial machine? I love it. There's definitely a learning curve to it, a huge learning curve. So here I'm going to clip these apart and put them together and show you how to do poke a pin. Now, there's a huge learning curve with a sewing machine because it's an industrial machine, and when it comes, the settings are all set for thick fabric. So you have to figure out how to get it, your tension, your throat plate, all your things to work with thinner fabrics. But I'm really blessed that there's a lady that works here named Teresa that knows a lot about industrial machines, and she has helped me get the settings right. I'm going to move this out of the way. So it definitely does have a learning curve, I'm not going to lie. But once you get it going, it's great. It took about a month for me to get it set right. Just trying to figure out and Googling and all of that. And we called David, is his name David, at Junkie Junkies? Yeah, we called him. And he helped us through a couple things. Okay. So I'm going to sew these two. Turn it over, flatten it. Now here, I still need to set my seams. So I'm going to set each side first. That side, move it out of the way, that side. Press to one side, then press open. Is the industrial machine loud? It's the same, I think it's not as loud. Doug Lico is the reason I got one, because he got one and told me how good it was. So he thinks it's not as loud. Kevin thinks it's the same loudness. So I think it's either the same or maybe a little bit less, but not much. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is trim this down. And when you're trimming, you want to make sure that 1/4 inch line on your ruler hits that 1/4 inch with a half square triangle. So I line up here and here. And very little should come off. So there's my block. And then I'm gonna continue and do the same thing, except I need to make 20 of these instead of this one you need 40 for 4 patches, and this one you need 20. So I will do that. I'm gonna answer questions on the block. I'm gonna get my iced tea. Okay, now I'm gonna go through questions and then we're gonna start showing you all kinds of stuff. Do you always press open half square triangles? Yes, pretty much most of the time, because I just really like everything flat. Most people do not do that though. So you have to just kind of do it at home and see what you think. Whatever you like best is really what you should do. I love that people are confessing their love for ironing. Is there anything more satisfying, especially with starched fabric? Oh my gosh, I love it. And Emma, okay, so with this new LauraStar iron, it will like put the air up. And Emma always, she dresses fancy, so she's always got these fancy dresses, and I'm like, let me iron it. And you can like put it on there and just, you don't even touch the iron to it. You press it and then the air comes up and it gets it flat, and she thinks I know what I'm doing. Sorry, I don't know what you're saying.
We have a shirt here if you want to show it.
A shirt.
And the pressing on the fabric.
Oh, yeah, I can show you. I can show you with this. I can show you with this. Okay, yeah, so what you do with this iron, the way I have this iron set is it sucks the air down. So, let me show you. When I push, it sucks the air down. If you push this button, the air comes up. See the air? See how it just went up? See that? It's in the air. So you just hit, like you get right to it. And this is cotton, so it doesn't work as good, but if it's like rayon or silk, you never touch the iron to it. You just, and it'll just come right out. But then most of the time I just use it like this. Sorry, Denise, I didn't know what you were saying. Okay. Kathy says, thank you for walking us through this. This is helpful. This is my first time joining a live. So exciting. I love your content. Next week, guys, Tuesday night. So next week, Tuesday night is going to be the live stream. 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Next Friday, there will not be a live stream, right? Because I'm doing a college tour, 2 college tours with Emma on Thursday, one Friday. Oh, okay. Okay, so let's move to the next thing. I think I've got all your questions. Oh, let me show that. I think Denise wanted me to show that. This is my stack of fabric. So somebody said something like, did you get rid of stuff? And I didn't. I just keep it all in a big old stack. And sometimes, one of the, Emma loves to organize. So sometimes I'll have her organize it, but if I'm done, I'll just bring it. And then I've been giving away my scraps to YouTube members. So I just keep it all in a stack. And then every now and then, like throughout the project, I'll organize it. Sometimes I keep it a mess. That new cup I'm showing you, that's just a cup from my house. I only have one of the brand new cups from Fat Quarter Shop, so mine is in the dishwasher. Okay, so we just started the Halloween mystery last week, but I wanted to show you the Star of Wonder mystery quilt along. It is a completely free pattern. It uses the Once Upon a Christmas fabric. Here's kind of a tease of it. And this is where you can really see the fabric. So just be looking forward to this. The kits are now available. And the finished size on this is going to be 48 inches square. And there will be free videos, free patterns. The fabric requirements are now online on the website and on the blog. And I will be showing you each week for 4 weeks how to sew this quilt. And the first block pattern and first block video is going to be July 2nd. So this is the Christmas. And then I want to show you the Halloween because the Halloween just started last week. So very similar. This is called Mystery, Spooky, and Sweet. And here are the blocks for that. For this week. So last week was the ghost. This week, these are the blocks. Free pattern. We do have quilt kits. This is Bella Solid, or you can use your scraps with either one of these. I am going to be showing you blocks that people have sewn so far so you can see if you don't have a kit. Just pull scraps from your stash to make it. And this one definitely, definitely needs to be, open that real quick. This one you definitely have to use Halloween fabric because it's not going to work without Halloween fabric. The Christmas quilt, actually you could use any fabric. We called it Christmas, but it does not have Christmas trees. It does not have, like this one had a ghost. So the Christmas one, you could use any fabric and make it non-Christmas if you want. Now Jordan's gonna show you some pop-ups. This is Love to Quilts for you. These star blocks are for the second week of the Spooky and Sweet Quilt Along from Fat Quarter Shop. I'm using the Hey Boo collection by Layla Boutique with coordinating solids thrown in. I love how the stars turned out with this yummy fabric. That's really cute. And so it looks like she's using pink, purple, and green solids. And then for the kind of those accents, she's using the Hey Boo. Autumn Hollow Patchwork. How cute are these week's stars made from Sew a Story Jennifer Long Little Witch fabric. So that is fabric from Riley Blake. I'm having so much fun with this sew along. So she used, she added like some other colors to hers. Dan Plazwitzky. With all these seams, I couldn't believe my blocks turned out exactly the right size. Yes, those look great. And that looks like maybe you're using some basics, maybe grunge. I'm not sure. I don't think they're Bella Solids though. And then Brittany Fisher, this is my week 2 of Spooky and Sweet, and that one is batik, so that is really cool. And then Pat Matthews, she's using the quilt kit. She can't wait to see the final layout. I did want to tell you the layout, there's going to be 2 layouts for the Halloween. 1 layout for the Christmas, but we always encourage you to, we give these 2 free sew-alongs to you every year, and you can use your stash. Do not feel like you have to buy a quilt kit. Now I'm going to show you some progress I've made on some different sew-alongs. Okay. So each year, Sherry McConnell of A Quilting Life does a free block of the month. I believe the way it is it's free while it's that year. At the end of the year, then it becomes paid. This year, she's doing 8-inch and 16-inch blocks. I used Strawberry Lemonade fabric, which is being reprinted by Moda. More will come in stock, probably October. This is my May block. And I want to show you this one. I used H100 here. And then I used triangle foundation paper to make the flying geese using the 1-inch by 2-inch finish. So that's this block. I did change the outsides, and those instructions are in block 1. So instead of it being plain, I made them fancy. So that's May. And then June is here. And this one, I made the instructions I did the hourglass block using my hourglass cheat sheet. So I'm going to show you that. Who knows where I put it? Oh my gosh, is it under here? I cannot get down there. Sorry. Okay. Oh, it's right here. How'd that show up? So if you look, page 2, 8-inch block, 2.5 inches unfinished. I go to my cheat sheet, trim to measure 2.5. Then it tells me I need to start with 3.5-inch squares, cut them, trim them down, and I use this Creative Grids ruler. So again, that's how I'm using my cheat sheets. Now these are the first 6 blocks. I wanted to show you, this is May, June, this is March, very similar. So if you look at it, it's very similar. See how those go this way? So when I place it in the quilt, one is gonna go this way so that they're going different ways. The only difference is this outside part. And then I'll show you the other blocks just so you can see all of them if you wanna see them all together. The 6 so far. These are January, February, March. January, February, April. Can we zoom out? And then I'm gonna place them and then kind of talk through my fabric placement. Yeah, that's good. Oh yeah, I have plenty of room. Okay, so these are in no particular order at this point. So what I decided is to use 2 backgrounds, or rather one background in the center and a low volume on the outside. Because if it was all this white on white, I just felt like it was just gonna be too much white. So when I saw block 1, I made all of these exactly the same. I made 6 this way and 6 this way. So there's 2 different, so you can see these 3 have 2 fabrics and these 3 have 2 different fabrics. So I made all of that up front, and then I just waited for her block to come in each month. That way, the outsides, when we put this together, will rotate the location of these. I am using Sherry's color line she uses. I think it would get very confusing if you used all the same fabrics. You're not gonna miss the live next week. Oh, because next Tuesday you're gonna be at work. Well, you can rewatch it. So I just kind of played with it. I just used the red and the, I guess, corally red and pink. I think this is going to be a really fun quilt. I think it's not really Valentine's Day, but I'm thinking it's still Valentine's Day enough to where when I decorate, I could lay this out on the edge of a couch or the back of a recliner because it has enough red in it. So I'm loving this. I cannot remember off the top of my head what my setting is. We'll talk about that later in the year because right now I can't remember. That's why I have my book, but I'm gonna be honest, I forgot my little binder today, I'm sorry. Usually I bring that and it has all my notes. Now this weekend, I was behind. I hadn't said it on live, but you might have noticed. I haven't shown this in 2 months because I was behind. This is the Vintage Sunburst Quilt Along. It's an 11-month quilt along with the Vintage Sunburst foundation paper pads. These are Lori Holt paper pads. You can see that I've used a lot of them. This uses a combination of the 8-inch and the 12-inch, and basically it's 2 to 3, 2 blocks of each size each month. All that information is on the blog. This started in January of this year. So I got behind, but I'm now caught up. So I'm gonna show you my blocks that I made this weekend. And then hopefully I can stay on task for next month. Now these are my 8-inch blocks. And we did a video on how to use this paper where you press open. I even pressed this open. I did make the outside bigger and trim down. So those are 2 of my 8-inch. Basically, the free pattern here tells you how to turn them into 12-inch blocks. This is a free pattern on our site. The only thing you have to buy the paper to get this look. So here's 2. There's 2 more. And with this, what I did, my son Will, he laid out all the fabrics. So I gave him 8 design boards, 8 photos, and then he laid out the fabrics. And then if I didn't have that fabric cut, because, I cut these a long time ago, he would just pull fabric from my scrap bin for me to cut. So really happy I got these done. It did take a lot of time. This one I would recommend doing a little bit each day. Don't try to do all of these at one time. And I think it's a lot easier to do the 12-inch than the 8-inch. And I don't know why. I don't know if this should be easier because it doesn't have the points on it. And that is all in the instructions. The paper has these points, but Lori didn't use them. So it should be easier to do this one, but these were easier for me. I have no idea why. And when I did this, I kind of did assembly line. What I would do is for each block, for each block, this is a little bit different than my other pads. This is designed by Lori, but you need 4 sheets for each block. So each sheet is one part of your unit. So Will laid out all my fabrics. And then what I would do is I would do all section 2s at one time. So I would pull this fabric, this fabric, this fabric, and this fabric, and do all of those, iron all of those, put them on the board. Then I would do all the section 1s, which are reversed. So this one is actually this one. So this one, this one, this one, this one, all at one time, stop. All of these at one time, stop. Then I would go to the next one, the next one, the next one, and then sew them all together at the same time. And we did a video on this, so you can see how I got all of these blocks perfect. This quilt's gonna be really pretty. And here's my last block. Will there be more Liberty Box finishing kits? I don't know. I would email elva@fatquartershop.com because I don't know the answer to that. I love Lori Holt trim it rulers for fussy cutting. Is there any hint so my ruler doesn't float? Click into there, Jordan. Right there. Yeah. Doesn't float while trimming. You know what you could do is put your ruler down, draw it with a friction line, and then cut the friction lines, because anytime you have applique and you have a ruler going down on it, I mean, obviously this is not the right size. It's not gonna go all the way. Since it's layers of fabric, it's not gonna go all the way down. So you either have to press really hard or draw lines. So excited. I think I only have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have 12 blocks left. So if I can just stay on track, that would be great. I don't know that that's gonna happen. And then I wanted to show you Monster Mash. This is the quilt kit by Moda Fabrics. It's just a fabric kit, and Jessica is making it. So the host of this Monster Mash sew along is Layla Boutique. Jessica is sewing along. She finished all her blocks already, and she wanted to have the quilt totally pieced and quilted by Halloween. So I'm going to show you all her blocks. Here's some notes from Jessica. This is the first time she's ever made sawtooth star blocks. It was a challenge for her because there's a lot of small piecing, but with the correct rulers, she was able to get those to come out right. So here's 2 ghosts. Let me show them this way. And this is a Bella Solid. And this is the sawtooth star block she was talking about. And so, you know, just small pieces. And there's 2 pumpkin blocks. And then she said this was also really difficult, just the small pieces. I think it came out really cute though. It really looks like stitches. And then 2 house blocks. I'm not saying the exact names right, but you get the gist. These were the first ones, and these were easier for her. And then she has the skull blocks. And for her quilt, she's going to, the first row is going to be house, skull, pumpkin. The second row is going to be ghost, Frankenstein, ghost. And the third quilt is going to be pumpkin, skull, and then house. And Jessica made these blocks. And then I'm going to show you what I made Kevin for Father's Day. Now, part of this I made and part of it I didn't. So I'm going to show you what I made first. It's ginormous. Okay. And then I'll show you on the table. Do you want to move the mat? Yeah. Okay. Okay, well, there's a mistake in this quilt. And that's what happens when you make quilts that are not for work. I just didn't take it as serious. So I actually enjoyed making it more. So I drew this up in electric quilt, but when I drew it up, my printer at home was not working. That would be called Kimberly Joller printer error. But then my printer at work was out of ink. So I didn't print out and do all the drawings I usually do because I just was like not with it that day. So what I did is this right here, is the panel. So the panel goes all the way to right here. Then I took black Bella Solid and added it, and then I added 4-inch squares outside. But I did my math wrong. So these are all wrong. He won't know unless he watches this live stream, and I honestly don't think he'll care. Now, let's talk about the pantograph. I don't love the green thread, but I think we had to do green thread because I wanted green on the back. And if you put green thread on the back and a cream thread on front with a Shannon thick fabric, it will not look good. So I had to compromise and either have white thread on the back or green thread on both. Kevin loves green. I know that's ironic, but this is the color he loves. That's his favorite color of all time. Now, you'll see the pantograph is teddy bears. The reason I did that is he has his original Smokey bear teddy bear, and I thought he would like this better than like a real bear. So I think it's cute. He's gonna get it for Father's Day. He has seen part of it, and this was quilted by Joanna Marsh. And it comes out about 60 by 70. This is Kona Black, this is the panel. These, I bought a fat quarter bundle and just cut up a bunch of 4-inch squares. And then I tried to do, like it's a diagonal. It's like a diagonal, like it goes like this. Now, if I was paying attention, the diagonal would go all the way down and then go over here. Well, I was not paying attention, obviously, because I was just trying to throw this together to get it done. So, and this is 90-inch wide. The color's evergreen, and it's just the solid. And I did put batting in here. You don't have to when you use Cuddle, but I wanted batting. So we're gonna pull it up so you can see all of it. And then we're gonna show the stuff that Teresa made Kevin for Father's Day, because I had her make it. And then you can kind of tell when you go down, you can kind of tell how that's skinny. But what I did is I had made all my rows and laid them out. And then when I went to put it on, it wasn't the right size. So I just said, okay, chop it. So I just added it and then chopped, and he won't care. And then I put the black, the same black on the binding. So that is his Father's Day gift. And then I asked Teresa to make this. So this is the tutorial that Teresa put together. It's just called Make a Basic Pillowcase. 10 minutes. Who put that? Jordan. I don't know Spanish. Okay, but this tutorial shows you how to do a French seam. Is that what that's called? So anyway, and she even put in a pillow. I get to keep the pillow, right? Because yeah. So this is, and it's so nice. So thank you, Teresa, for that. And then, okay, now obviously I had a lot of squares left over because I said I started with a fat quarter bundle. I really didn't plan very good for it, but I had some leftovers. So I said, Teresa, can you make something with them? So she did. And I love it. And I asked her if we could do a video tutorial, and she was like, no, I think anybody who would make this is just insane. That's what she said, not me. It's like a very complicated French seam thing, and like she has batting in here. She said no. She made a pillow for the inside. Oh my gosh, she made the pillow for the inside instead of buying one. Oh my gosh, look how cute that is. Oh my gosh, thank you, Teresa. So it's very puffy, but it's really cool because this has something in it. And she quilted it herself and everything. So these are from Teresa to Kevin for Father's Day. And I love it, and thank you, Teresa. And I love this thread. It's very, I don't know. And hopefully Kevin in his office, he has a couch. It's like one of those pull-out couches, so when his parents come, it turns into a bed. And he has like these 2 white pillows on there with nothing on them, and it drives me crazy. So now they're gonna get replaced with this. Okay, and happy Father's Day to everybody out there. I'm gonna show you new stuff now. There's not as much new stuff just because we showed a lot last week. We just had a meeting this week about our YouTube members, and we are gonna change that up for next year a little bit. We change it every year. So on Tuesday, July 23rd, which is my brother's birthday, we're going to do a live stream, and we're going to announce all the perks for being a member. So you'll want to check that out. This is Blackbird's Nest by Kansas Troubles Quilters. And this one is black and cream. It's not navy. And the whole collection is this color. And Kansas Trouble Quilters. And so we have this as fat quarter, layer cake, charm pack, jelly roll, mini charm pack, yardage, all the things. These are folded a little bit different than usual mode of fat quarters. Teresa has to be the best employee ever. Yes, she's so creative. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, just make something with it. I didn't even say pillow. I was like, I don't know what she'll make. And then I was like, oh my God, that's so amazing. And of course, I mean, I'm going to tell Kevin that Teresa made it. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for it. He's going to know. I mean, he probably will know that I did not make that. This is, each year Riley Blake comes out with flannels, and we haven't bought them before. So this is the first time we've bought them. And this year they did a lot of Christmas flannels. So I bought them. They're nice. They're not too thick. And I'm going to show you the ones that we bought. They're Christmassy. I was thinking maybe people would want to make a Christmas flannel quilt. I wasn't sure. And I think this is a mix of their different designers together. I don't think it's one designer. Can we borrow Teresa for the day? Oh my gosh. I can't even, like, I need 5 Teresas. Can you imagine? She would, oh my gosh, she does amazing stuff. And so anytime she makes something fun, we're like, can we turn that into a video? Can we turn that into a video? And so she's probably very annoyed with us because me and Denise are like, can we do that? Can we do that? Can you do that? Can you do that? But we always give her credit when it's her stuff because it would be very obvious that it was not, I could not do it. So this is called Designer Flannel Christmas. And we have this as yardage and fat quarter bundles. The Santa face is really cute. This would make cute gift bags or stockings. This is called Winter in Snowtown by Stacy West for Henry Glass Fabrics. And I'm going to show you. The panel's amazing. I remember buying this fabric, which Kevin and I buy all the fabrics still to this day. We still buy all the fabric. We pick everything. And sometimes, you know, we do a lot of stuff. I don't ever really even take a lunch break. So I can't remember what I did 2 minutes ago. I can't remember when we buy fabric, if we bought it, who we bought it from, what fabric company it is, none of it. It all runs together. And I think part of that is a lot of times when our sales reps come, they all kind of come at the same time. So like 1 week, all I do is buy fabric. Well, then it all runs together. This is so cute, very vintage, but this panel is so cute. And Kevin loves this panel. Kevin loves Frosty the Snowman too. He loves Smokey the Bear. And I'm not even gonna show my kids the quilt. I'm gonna let them. We bought him something else at HEB or Randall's, like a popcorn type thing with a root beer, like some kind of specialty root beer, popcorn and something else. And so that's what they bought him. But look how cute it is. He's so cute. It looks kind of like a girl though. It's so cute. Very vintage, love it. So Winter in Snowtown. This is Snow Crew, also by Henry Glass Fabrics. Barb Tortillet. I'm not sure how you say her name. Okay. Teresa needs a raise or a good parking space. So Teresa does all of, she puts all my quilts together. Like when I make the blocks, she does that. She does all the step outs for the videos so that I don't have to do that. She pretty much sews most days, and then she also picks all the pantographs that go on all the quilts. She gives me options to pick from. So this is Snow Crew, and then this one has kind of a like a snowman, but it has like woodland creatures. And that's definitely a trend right now. The woodland creature type thing is definitely a trend. And on the Smokey Bear, we sold out of that fabric right away. We have more coming. I was smart and bought it before it sold out. But you know, we've never sold Smokey the Bear. And sometimes licensed products do not sell well. I mean, they can be very hit or miss. So we never buy licensed products really heavy because sometimes we get stuck with them. This is a new Hoffman batik called Sweet Breeze Batiks. It kind of looks like that batik that was in that pop-up for the Halloween. And sometimes we'll buy a collection just because we like the panel. I know that sounds crazy, but if you have an in with designers, I would love to be able to buy winter Christmas fabrics in bright jewel tones with blues and purples. Oh, I definitely don't have it in with fabric designers. I see the fabric I see it slightly before you guys. And I have given, there's a couple things I've requested from Moda before that they've done, but I'm always nervous to do that because if it doesn't sell well, then my name is on it. Or, you know, so Kevin and I are we try not to request things because if it doesn't do good, then, you know, we don't want it to be on us. This is Pumpkin Licorice by Andover Fabric. So this one doesn't have a designer. Every year, Andover does a couple of orange collections. They do more orange and black collections than any other company, but every year they do a line like this. And so we pretty much buy it every year. Pumpkin Licorice. And these are kind of like calico-ish, you know, very small scale. And what's good about this collection is if you like this type of look, you could get it every year and it would all kind of matchy-match. Gorgeous fall colors. I think this one's really pretty. And it's kind of a bigger line. It's got a lot of SKUs. And then for notions, this week we got, this is called Jelly and Jam Trivets. And they're supposed to be like, I mean, they're not really pot holders because they're not going to hold heat, but they are definitely hand crocheted because I crochet, so I was checking them out. One of them has like a little hook on it, and two of them do not because this one has the hook, and then these don't. And so I put this one in my office, this one in the room where we record reels, and this one in the room where we record other videos. So you'll see these. I don't know how long these will last, but they're really cute. I love the colors. So they're called trivets, but they're double-sided too. Thank you to the Bathola for the super chat. Thank for all you do. Thank you. Okay. We ordered some Rifle Paper notions. So we have some notepads by Rifle Paper that we loaded last week. Just some general stationery items that we ordered last week. I wanted to show you for 2025. Obviously, that's not for 6 months, 5 months. But we ordered a small planner and a large planner. The inside is black and white. This one would fit in your purse. And this one would obviously probably go at your desk. You can find these, of course, at any office store, but we're going to start carrying the Rifle Paper stationery because selfishly, I love it. So I like to be able to buy stuff for myself rather than a store. But, you know, if the Rifle Paper stuff sells good, we'll keep it. If it doesn't, we'll probably discontinue it. It's probably just one of those things we're just trying out. These are both 12-month planners. They both have a spiral. One is small and one is large. They're both called Rose's 12-month. This is a pocket planner, and then this is just the planner. And they're both called Roses, even though they're different motifs. Okay. So I think that's it, guys. I hope all of you have a wonderful Father's Day. I hope all of you have a wonderful weekend. Now remember, next week, I will be live Tuesday. I'm going to be showing you upcoming fabrics and just chit-chatting. Just like more casual, just chit-chat. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and then no live stream next Friday. I will be looking at colleges with Emma. I hope all of you have a great week, and I will see you Tuesday.